Awesome. So listen, in today's video, we're going to talk about places not to stash cash when it comes to you living out your financial freedom dreams, okay? What I mean by that is we have goals and objectives. We have strategies. If we do certain financial products that are meant for the long term, that are stayed in one bucket, single digit rate of return that we can't really take until later on in life, those are the things that you don't want to put your cash in, including you don't want to hide cash in your couch either because of inflation and all the other lost opportunity costs that are out there. So in today's video, we're going to dig deep into strategy and what that looks like and how you go from here to here on a map, but the key is you got to figure out where you are first. So listen, when it comes to money, it's always important that you truly understand exactly what you're looking to accomplish. Number one, what is your core value? What is your investment philosophy? And this requires education. I guarantee it's not going to show up at the front door. I promise you that if you look at the world you live in, you're surrounded by chaos and confusion in the form of misinformation about what to buy, who to buy it with, and how to buy it with. So today, and by the way, I'm not a fiduciary, okay? But I want to be really clear. If you are an entrepreneur, if you're somebody that's looking to create your own generational wealth, get multiple uses of your own money, mimic what the wealthy do, the first thing that we're going to discuss is the 3 places not to stash cash, and then begin to break down on what to do next. So listen, I grew up in a blue-collar town here in New Jersey, and whenever I do videos like this, that's about education, it's about really being aware of what to do and what not to do. I'm not here judging what anyone's done up until this point, especially if you're on here watching this video, you're seeking education, which thank you so much, I really appreciate it. But here's the thing, if you look at society as a whole, whether you're growing up and you're in peer groups or the schoolyard you grew up in or the team that you played on, there's always a level of what everybody else is doing. So now as you become an adult, and whether it's your mom or dad, whether it's your cousin, your brother, your sister, whether it's your financial planners at different financial institutions, society as a whole is always going to tell you what you should do with your money. And part of the education process is to really empower yourself by understanding, who am I for real? Like if money didn't exist and I wanted to live my best life, who am I, right? And that really begins to create leverage because on yourself, and it begins to really kind of put you in place on how you want to make a difference in the world. And you're like, Rob, what are you talking about? We're supposed to talk about like where not to put your money. But at the end of the day, here's the point I'm trying to make. Once you truly understand who you are and you begin the process of self-education, you want to climb, you want to go to Goat Mountain, greatest of all time. You want to go interview people that have been there, done that. You want to do a lot of reading and research. But then you got to create a congruent model and you can't do it on your own, right? So at the end of the day, you want to really truly understand as best as you can every single day or every other day or by watching videos, taking notes, rinsing and repeating everything of exactly what everybody else is typically doing. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. If you did nothing and then you follow what everyone else is doing, it's better than doing nothing. But the truth is, what is everybody doing and why? Who's controlling the narrative to the general masses where the general masses are making financial decisions? Those are the real questions that should be asked. And once you discover that and truly do your own research, follow your gut and understand exactly where you want to be, but you have to know where you are first and then where you want to go. And I think at that place and in that point, you're going to be able to make decisions that are very logically based, give you the ability to weather storms that really come out of nowhere, or at least seemingly come out of nowhere. And at the end of the day, put yourself in a position to take full advantage of opportunities that seemingly will just show up because of the energy that you're putting out there. So we're really discussing, and once again, this is my opinion based on my years of experience. So you're taking, myself, my team's experience, it's decades worth, and we're turning decades into days and providing content. And I'm not here telling you not to do something. It's based on opinion and overall strategy. And one of the biggest challenges I see is when folks like to stash cash just in a bank, right? Because we're taught to do that from day one. I'm not saying don't have an emergency fund, which is basically either 3 months of income if both you and your wife work, or If you're an individual that works but married, but you're the sole breadwinner, then you want to do 6 months of income that could possibly be in the bank. Besides that though, I really feel that at the end of the day, if you really look what's going on right now, it's approximately, if I put 100 grand into the bank, I'm getting 0.04% on my money, right? So let's take a look at that, because right now it's December 2021. I don't know when you're going to see this video. And most importantly, if you look at numbers and targets, they're constantly moving. But let me give you today's information. Right now, inflation in America, I think is about 6.8%, right? And the 10-year Treasury is about 1.4%. So if I take 6.8 and I subtract 1.4, what that tells me is that I'm at negative 5.4%. Meaning, if I have 100 grand, and when I say negative, I mean inflation after what the T-bill is. If I have 100 grand in a bank and everything stays the same and nothing changes, a year from now, the buying power on that 100 grand is going to be $94,500. And let me repeat that. What I'm basically saying, according to today's information, if the 10-year T-bill is at 1.4, and if America's inflation rate, which seems to be much higher than the number I'm going to give you, is 6.8 minus 1.4, 5.4, that means your statement will still say 100 grand. A year later, if nothing changes, it's still going to say 100 grand, but when you deploy that money into the real world, you're only going to be able to buy $94,500. So if you really stick around for this video, you're going to see at the end, we're going to come up with strategies and solutions. But when we look at the bank, I'm not really sure if I want to put my money in there beyond emergency fund. I think I want to mimic what the bank actually does and follow their rules internally, not what they market and brand to all of us out there today. You know, the second thing that we want to talk about here is what a 401k is pertaining to stashing cash. And remember, stashing cash, when it comes to you folks that are out there that is looking for information on how to really truly become an entrepreneur and have liquidity, leverage, and control. Once again, this is about what you're seeking right now. A 401k is very challenging from that perspective. Let me just get into a definition real fast so we're all on the same page. A 401k plan is a retirement savings plan offered by many American employers that has tax advantages to the saver. Let's pause. What that means is you put the money in pre-tax dollars, right? So that's the tax advantage. However, when you take it out, it gets taxed at ordinary income, just to be clear. It is named after a section of the U.S. Internal Revenue Code. With a traditional 401k, employee contributions are pre-tax, which I just said, meaning they reduce taxable income, but withdrawals are taxed. So let's talk about that. Meaning they reduce taxable income. If you make just $100,000 and you put in $15,000 into your 401k, that means you're taxed on $85,000. That's what that means when it reduces taxable income. However, when you retire and you take it out, I don't know if whoever I'm speaking to right now is 60, 50, 40, 30, or 20, but let me just, really focus in on the post 50-year-olds right now. When you retire and you begin to take that money out, it's going to get taxed at ordinary income and can trigger, and it depends on how it's reported and what the numbers are, the uneasiness of having your Social Security be taxed as well, up to 85%. If you have any other questions about that, please comment below or reach out to one of our team members, because we could always do an analysis for you from that perspective. And at the end of the day, if you stay tuned for the rest of this video, we're going to get into solutions. But to be clear, if you're looking to use the money in a multiplier fashion, if you're looking to not put money into the bank but mimic the bank, this is not the strategy for you. I'm not saying don't do a 401k. I'm not saying don't put money in a savings account, but once those things are done and you really want to take the entrepreneurial viewpoint of your money, this is where we're going to get into the strategies a little bit later on. So listen, what if you do have a 401k already? And we just spoke about this, but here's the thing, one of the things we're not telling you to do is cash it out. Because if you cash it out before 59 and a half, you're going to have tax and a penalty. What we're telling you is make sure you understand the mechanics inside that 401k, get clear on whoever's managing it, what the fees are, see if there's other ways to look into it that could maybe save you a little bit of extra money. And by the way, later on in life, when you look at the distribution phase of all of your different investments and assets, this will be taxed, yes, but you could still factor it into your model from an income distribution standpoint. I think what we're truly saying though, as you go through this process of really kind of creating your own generational wealth, and I don't mean when you die, I mean while you're alive, and creating the financial freedom that you're looking for, once again, it's really about emergency fund and savings. Okay, here's the 401k, the extra money, what does that look like from stashing your cash to be able to turbocharge it? So listen, we're talking about stashing cash. We're talking about, creating multiple use of each and every dollar, mimicking the bank from a fractional reserve lending strategy. This is all conversations we could have later on, but keep one thing in mind. If you're putting money away for college for your child, and you're doing it like the day your child is a year old until they're 18 or whatever number you want to do, I'm not really sure if that's going to help you with your ability to create your own wealth. So let's just read this definition real fast. The two major types of 529 plans are savings plans and prepaid tuition plans. Savings plans grow tax deferred, right? We talked about that before. And withdrawals are tax free if they are used for qualified education expenses. Don't you love these words? Anyway, prepaid tuition plans allow the account owner to pay in advance for the tuition to a designated college or colleges and universities, locking in the cost of today's rates. Now that seems risky to me. Not the locking in point, but how do we know what school our child's gonna go to? Like, do we have a crystal ball for that? I don't really know. So there's a little bit of risk there. And then the real question that you want to ask yourself is, what if they don't go to college? Or what if they get a scholarship? What happens to that money? Is there other things that could be done with that money along the way that can allow not only college still be paid for, but also, creating another different, maybe 7, 8 different pieces of real estate, or maybe financing your own debt or some other things that are out there. So in summary, the benefit of a 529 plan is tax deferred growth. The drawback, as we just discussed, is it's 10% if not used for educations. Here's the thing, taxed gains on the way out if not used for specific educational expenses. I love that part. If disaster hits like it did in '08, no college money. Okay, and the last point is, think about 2008, right? Think about 1997, or think about March of 2000, but let's focus in on 2008 when both real estate and the stock market went down. Can you imagine all the money that was in these plans? And some of these kids were about to step into college. Typically what happened at that point is the money, I'm not gonna say there was no college money, but I'm sure that money got reduced significantly during that time frame. So listen, real quick, we just gave 3 places if you're looking to create your own wealth, your own financial freedom, not to put your money into from a stashing cash perspective. And we just went over the 529, the 401k IRA, and putting money in the bank. And it's important that these products or strategies you get educated on. Because at the end of the day, if you truly understand the emergency fund mindset, if you truly understand the mindset of, hey, listen, if I do have a 401k and if my employer is matching, listen, I'm not gonna argue that. Or if you currently have a 401k, we're not gonna tell you to take money out of that. But at the end of the day, if you're working a 9 to 5 from 6 to 10 at night, and you want to get educated on what's going to happen next, or how you're going to redefine yourself, or have your own economic redemption, it's about education. And it's about understanding what, I'm not going to say the generational 100, 200, 3-year wealthy people do, but what I am saying and what I'm offering to you is the mindset on how to truly create your own opportunities. And it really comes down to money in, money out. Where do you put that money out? How is it deployed? And what is your mindset? So thank you for really kind of sticking through this video. Once again, this is education for you, right? I'm going to talk about a creative strategy. And when we look at the word, or you look at life insurance, I want to be clear, it's not an investment. It's an alternative to savings with uninterrupted interest, provided you're using the right carriers. And we could always talk about that. Feel free to click the link below, or just add some comments, put some questions in there we'd love to answer. But with that being said and done, let's kind of take a look at what life insurance, if deployed properly by overfunding a cash value whole life insurance plan specific to this conversation. The first thing that comes to my mind is leverage, right? So leverage to me is the ability to use money over and over again, right? What does that mean? So if we look at the velocity of money multiplier, which is what the banks do, the banks make money by you putting money in. They give you no money on it, or less than 1%. We talked about that before, but they leverage that money out over and over whether it's through auto loans, credit cards, or mortgages to you, and then they make 40 cents on every dollar that they give to you. It's important you understand that. So they utilize leverage in a way that if you did the same thing, understanding all your financial professionals were on the same page, if you did do that, you'd be able to kind of mimic what the bank is doing. And by having money inside an overfunded cash value life insurance plan and making sure that you're not overstepping any boundaries from a MEC standpoint, you don't want it to be taxable, but by doing that, you're going to create a level of liquidity, right? Liquidity means, hey, listen, the stock market just went down in the last year or two, or the real estate market just went down, or I want to go put an addition on my, whatever the case may be, it's your own line of credit, and the liquidity factor in there allows you to have access to money like this. And between leverage and liquidity, you have control. Once you have control over your money tied into your investment philosophy, what really begins to happen is the decision making gives you a tremendous compounding effect on how your money gets multiplied over time. In using leverage and liquidity, you have tax efficiency. What do I mean by that? Well, if you borrow money from a policy, because that's what we're talking about, there's no tax consequence. When you retire later on in life and you take distributions up to basis, there's no tax consequence. It doesn't get added to your taxable income, affecting your 401k and or your Social Security taxes later on in life. So from the standpoint of leverage, liquidity control, and tax efficiency, it leads to the money multiplier. What am I talking about? So look, you're an entrepreneur. You love real estate. I'll use that as an example. Everybody loves real estate right now. Typically, you have money in a savings account. You put that money as a down payment on your real estate. Comes out of your savings account, which isn't earning anything anyway. Now it's in your real estate. You'll get your rates of return if you're really good at real estate from a cash flow perspective, from a mortgage interest write-off perspective, from a depreciation perspective, and obviously you buy it today so it goes higher later on. But by doing that, having the renter pay back your policy, what now is happening is that rate of return is almost like becoming your own bank. And it sounds really good. So during this time, remember, you're in the wealth creation phase here, right? So being in the wealth creation phase, you don't know what your future value is going to be worth, but in this insurance piece and in this strategy, you will have a death benefit that in all likelihood is greater than what your current net worth is. So you're kind of locking in on that by doing this strategy. But here's one thing I'm going to offer. There's a lot of people that go on YouTube, TikTok, a lot of folks out there that, that really love life insurance from a strategy. I'm one of those folks. I do believe that it's not the answer to everything. I believe it's really tied into what your core values are, who you are, what your goals and objectives are. That's just kind of where I'm coming from. But listen, money in the stock market I think is important, as well as your qualified plans. But here's my point. There's a lot of people out there that are doing what we do here at Epic Financial Strategies, and I don't really see the execution side. I just see, hey, let's have a meeting. But I'm not really sure that those folks are willing to work with your other planners. Like, we here at Epic are willing to work with your fiduciary, if you want, and educate them. Because listen, fiduciaries are great people. I'm speaking in general terms. I can't speak for every one of them, obviously. They put a lot of work in to pass a test that's very rigorous. They have knowledge. They have a way of doing things, but that doesn't mean there can't be a conversation to provide education. So whether it's your fiduciary, whether it's your CFP, whether it's your accountant, we would love the opportunity for your benefit to work with them. But in the meantime, we have a relationship with a team of fiduciaries if in fact you had questions from that perspective as well. But to the point I'm making here, we love to work with other financial professionals because you out there deserve what the wealthy have. And what the wealthy have is their fiduciary, their CFP, their insurance agent, their trust officer, their accountant, all on the same page when it comes to the decision making. So when these folks make decisions, it is based on generational wealth, but why should you be left out of that conversation? Here at Epic, Empower, Protect, Integrate, Coordinate, we've created that model and methodology, scaled it down, and we're offering it to you. If you have any questions, go ahead and click the link below. There's also a financial freedom, an Epic financial freedom map down there as well that gives you a starter kit on understanding where you are, where you want to go, and how you could get there. We look forward to speaking with you. And if you have any questions, once again, add it in the comments section and somebody will get back to you. Hey, listen, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. And by the way, check out this video over here.